So yeah, I never thought I'd be writing one of these posts. I used to read Reddit relationship drama like it was fiction, but now I'm living in my own sci-fi soap opera, and it feels like my brain is glitching. For context, I, 34M, have been married to my wife, Layla, 31F, for 6 years. We've been together since our mid-20s. No kids, both in tech. I work in security compliance, she's in design. We're that cool couple who embraced the whole metaverse boom early, got VR headsets, full haptic rigs, even a shared virtual loft on MetaHaven. It was our digital getaway. I thought it brought us closer. At first, it did feel fun. We'd go clubbing in virtual Tokyo, float through alien forests, even attend virtual couples therapy sessions when things got tense during the pandemic. Layla was especially into it, like obsessed. She started spending hours in there after work, way more than me. I chalked it up to her job being more creative and her just needing an escape. But the first red flag? She stopped inviting me into her virtual spaces. I'd log on, and she'd either be in a meeting or just meditating. She even turned off the shared location tracker on her MetaHub account, which was weird, because we always kept that open for syncing events. I confronted her once. I said, "Hey, you spending a lot of time in there? You good?" She smiled, like that artificial tight-lipped smile people give when they're trying to hide something, and said, "It's just a game, babe. It helps me unwind. Don't overthink it." Spoiler alert, I should have overthought it. I started noticing she was more distant in real life. Less affectionate, cold in bed, snappy over dumb stuff. And here's the kicker. She began dressing up more for work-from-home meetings, even putting on perfume. Who wears perfume for Zoom calls? I joked once, "Who are you getting all dolled up for? Your virtual boyfriend?" She just rolled her eyes and said, "Maybe he treats me better than you do." At the time, I thought it was just a jab, but now, I wonder if it was a confession dressed as a joke. That was 3 months ago. Things went downhill fast after that. So after that "maybe he treats me better than you do" comment, I started paying closer attention. I'm not proud of this next part, but I made a second MetaHaven account. Used a random name, masked IP, even spoofed a different region so I wouldn't get flagged in her friend's suggestions. Felt dirty doing it, like I was violating her privacy. But I had this gut feeling something was off. And my gut? It was right. First day using the account, I wandered around casually, mostly just learning how strangers interact. But on the second day, I found her. Or, at least, her avatar. It was unmistakably Layla, same custom facial design, same butterfly tattoo behind her ear that she'd insisted on adding to her avatar to be more authentic. But she wasn't using her real name. Not even close. She was NixieSky_88. And she wasn't in one of the relaxation zones or art galleries she claimed to like. She was in a place called Velvet Garden. It's basically a virtual high-end lounge, half burlesque, half erotic roleplay club. Like the red light district, but in 12K resolution. I froze when I saw her. She was wearing this crimson latex outfit, something I've never seen her wear in real life, not even close. She was sitting in a private booth with some guy, huge, animated, cyberpunk-looking dude, named ZeroWolf_X. I watched as they laughed, flirted, danced. She called him Z. He called her my girl. I just stared, completely numb. My wife, who barely kissed me goodnight anymore, was virtually grinding on a pixelated werewolf in a BDSM mask. And here's what broke me. She looked happy. Happier than I'd seen her in months. I logged off. Didn't sleep that night. Just lay in bed next to her, staring at the ceiling, while she snored softly beside me like nothing was wrong. The next morning she kissed me on the cheek, said, "Heading into a long day, don't wait up." Then she slipped on her headset and disappeared into a world where I apparently don't exist. I told myself maybe it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe it was just a roleplay thing. Maybe she wasn't emotionally involved. Maybe I was being paranoid, insecure. So I tried to act normal for a few days, tried to give her space, tried to trust her. But when someone lies, they usually keep lying. And Layla? She started getting sloppy. One night I casually asked, "What did you do in Meta tonight?" She didn't even blink. Just did some yoga and journaling in the Forest Temple sim. I nodded. Cool. Which one? I was thinking of trying it. She shrugged. Oh, the usual one. Except the usual one doesn't exist. I checked. Every public forest temple was empty that night. And I already knew where she really was. I'd logged on with my burner account and saw her dancing in Velvet Garden again. this time with Z whispering in her ear while they slow danced in a private sky room surrounded by fake stars. She kept saying just a game, while she was emotionally checking out of our real-life marriage to go roleplay some fantasy version of herself. And it wasn't just that. I saw her chatting with multiple men, even exchanging crypto gifts, stuff worth real money. One guy sent her a $200 digital necklace, and she moaned in text chat when she put it on. What the actual hell? I started asking more questions, soft ones, at first. She'd brush them off. Say I was being needy, too intense, or my favorite. God, not everything is about you. At this point, I was unraveling. My own wife was slipping through my fingers like vapor. I felt like I was competing with a video game character I couldn't punch. It all hit me one evening when I came home early. Her headset was on the couch, and I peeked at the display. She must have fallen asleep during a call, because the log was still active. She'd been in a private voice channel with Z for 3.5 hours. Voice, not text. I clicked playback. Yeah, I know, probably crossing a line. But screw it. She already crossed 5. The first words I heard were her saying in this soft, sultry voice I hadn't heard in years. If I could leave my real life behind, I'd choose this every time. You're the only one who actually sees me. 3.5 hours of that. I sat there in silence, listening to my wife fantasize about ditching me for some digital wolf boy she's never met in person. Or maybe she had. I didn't even know anymore. I wish I could say I handled things calmly. But after hearing that voice recording, "You're the only one who actually sees me," I snapped. I waited until dinner the next night. She was scrolling her phone while absent-mindedly eating some takeout I picked up. Her headset was charging on the coffee table. I just said it. "So who's Z?" She didn't even blink at first, just looked up slowly, like she was processing the question. Then she smiled. "You're being weird again." That was it. The gaslighting switch flipped instantly. I pushed. I told her I knew everything. That I'd seen her avatar. That I watched her dance with him. That I'd heard her voice say she wanted to leave her real life. I even told her about the burner account. She stared at me like I'd just confessed to murder. Then her face hardened, and she said, dead serious, "You're spying on me now?" Jesus, that's the real problem. No apology. No guilt. No shame. She flipped the entire situation on me. Suddenly, I was the bad guy for finding out she had a secret virtual boyfriend she emotionally cheated on me with for months. "I didn't do anything wrong," she said. "It's not real. It's just code. You're jealous of pixels." Pixels? Huh? Funny, because those pixels heard more love from her mouth in one night than I had in half a year. She went on this long, infuriating rant about how the metaverse is freedom and expression, and how traditional relationships are outdated. She even said monogamy was a social construct designed for economic stability in agrarian societies. Like she was quoting some TikTok philosophy major. I asked her, flat out, "Are you in love with him?" She didn't answer. She just stood up, grabbed her headset, and said, "I need to be somewhere I feel understood." And she left. Not the house, just me. She sat in the next room, slid on her gear, and disappeared into her perfect pixel world with her perfect pixel man. I sat at the table with cold noodles and an even colder heart, realizing my wife had emotionally ghosted me without even leaving the house. After that confrontation, things didn't get better. They got weirder. Layla stopped pretending altogether. She'd spend 8 to 10 hours a day in Metahaven, sometimes more. She'd log in right after breakfast, skip lunch, and only come out to microwave dinner or take a bathroom break. And she stopped talking to me unless it was to remind me that we need to be adults about this. About what exactly? I wasn't sure. She never defined it. It was like she wanted me to believe I was crazy for having any expectations at all. At some point, I became a ghost in my own house. I tried everything. Asked her to go to counseling, to take a break from the metaverse, to talk about what the hell was happening to us. She said I was trying to control her identity and weaponizing guilt. Then came the real kicker. One night I got curious and logged into my burner account again. I hadn't used it in over a week, trying to give myself space. But I needed answers. I found her again, NixieSky_88, hosting a virtual wedding in Metahaven. You read that right. AF*****ing wedding. She was dressed in a silver gown, standing on a floating heart-shaped platform surrounded by 40 or 50 other avatars, some in tuxedos, some in angel wings, some half-naked, because it's the metaverse, of course. And there he was, Zero Wolf _ X, wearing some custom-tailored tux with wolf ears and a glowing halo. She said vows. He said vows. She cried. Or at least, her avatar did, scripted tear animations and all. And the chat lit up with emojis, applause, hearts, cheers. I just stood there in the crowd, anonymous, stunned, frozen. I couldn't even move my avatar. It was like my fingers stopped working. She didn't see me, of course. I wasn't invited. I didn't even exist to her anymore, not in the real world, not in the virtual one. That night, while she slept peacefully beside me in bed like nothing had happened, I stared at the ceiling thinking, my wife got married while still married to me, in another universe. It sounds stupid when I write it, like something from a bad Black Mirror episode. But I swear to God, the betrayal felt real. Because it was. After the meta wedding, something inside me broke. I stopped talking to her. Stopped trying to salvage it. I think part of me just wanted to see how long it would take her to notice. Spoiler, she didn't. For 3 full days, we barely said a word to each other. I'd go to work, come home, and she'd be locked into her headset. The only time she acknowledged me was when she asked if I could pick up more almond milk. You want to hear the next twist? A week after the wedding, she actually sat me down. I thought, finally, maybe she feels guilty. Maybe she's ready to talk. Maybe there's a tiny sliver of the woman I married left inside her. Nope. She told me she wanted to redefine the boundaries of our relationship. That was the phrase she used. Like she was updating the terms of service on our F******ing marriage. She said she wanted to explore poly-virtual identity, which, according to her, meant being committed in real life but open in the metaverse. She claimed it wasn't cheating, because it was non-corporeal. I asked her, would you be okay if I had a virtual girlfriend? Took her on pixel dates, kissed her, told her I loved her. She actually had the audacity to pause, think for a second, and say, well, it would depend on her vibe. Her vibe. That's when I laughed. I couldn't help it. Not a happy laugh. One of those broken, what the hell is my life laughs. She looked offended. Said I was being toxic. Then she left the room and slammed the door, headset in hand. Like always. That night, I poured myself 2 fingers of whiskey and sat in the dark, staring at our wedding photo. Us, barefoot on the beach. Her smiling like she believed in forever. And I whispered to no one. Where the hell did you go? The answer was obvious. She went to a place where no one holds her accountable. Where reality has a mute button and affection is on demand. A place where she doesn't have to be a partner, just a fantasy. And I was just an inconvenient reminder that she used to live in the real world. So after the poly-virtual identity conversation, God, I still hate that phrase. I was pretty much emotionally checked out. But not legally, not financially, not logistically. And that's where things started getting really messed up. One afternoon while she was out, yes, she still left the house sometimes, usually to meet her meta friends IRL for coffee and energetic alignment. I got a ping on my burner meta account. It was from someone named Ravenhexa3, who I didn't recognize. The message was short. Hey, are you Layla's husband? I stared at it for a while. Didn't respond. Then another came in. I think you should know what she's been doing. Not just in Metahaven. IRL too. That got my attention real fast. So I messaged back. We ended up talking for over 2 hours. Turns out Ravenhexa3 was the ex-girlfriend of one of the guys Layla had been involved with virtually, someone she hadn't just married in Metahaven, but apparently met up with in real life. Yep, Layla lied to me for months. Said she was going to meta retreats and immersive therapy workshops. Turns out those were just cover stories for hooking up with her digital lovers in actual hotel rooms. And it wasn't just one guy. Raven sent screenshots, private Discord chats, selfies from real-world meetups, even one blurry pic of Layla at a VR-themed rave, hanging off some dude in LED goggles. I cross-referenced the date with a weekend she told me she was doing a silent nature fast in Big Sur. So much for fasting. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, then kicked down a flight of stairs. She didn't just betray me in some surreal, simulated space. She physically cheated too. Multiple times. With people she met through her avatar. When she came home that night, humming like nothing was wrong, I was waiting for her with my phone in hand. No yelling. No theatrics. Just showed her the screenshots. She stared at them for a long time, then said something I'll never forget. I didn't think you'd actually care. You've been so emotionally unavailable. I was emotionally unavailable? I honestly don't remember what I said after that. My ears were ringing. My chest hurt. I think I told her to get out. She didn't argue. She packed a backpack, grabbed her headset, and left. After she left that night, I expected a blow-up. Yelling. Maybe some crying. Apologies. A desperate attempt to explain. I mean, after 8 years together, for years married, I figured she'd at least try. But nothing. She ghosted me. No texts. No emails. No calls. Nothing but silence. A week passed. Then another. I didn't even know where she was staying. Maybe at one of her meta friends' places, maybe with the LED goggle guy. I wouldn't be surprised if she moved in with him and had some virtual honeymoon on a floating crystal moon. Meanwhile, I was stuck living with her echo. Our house still smelled like her perfume. Her plants were dying. Her clothes still hung in the closet. Her wedding ring was on the bathroom counter next to a half-used tube of lipstick. But she was gone. Logged out of our marriage like it was just another app. I started sleeping on the couch. Couldn't even bear being in our bed. I'd stay up late scrolling through MetaHaven forums, trying to make sense of it all. There were other stories like mine, husbands, wives, even some teenagers talking about how the metaverse had completely taken over someone they loved. One post hit me especially hard. It read, "The scary part isn't that they're escaping reality. It's that they're building a version of themselves where you don't exist." That was it. That was exactly what Layla had done. She created a perfect little world where she could be adored, desired, worshipped, and I was the inconvenient anchor tying her to laundry and overdue bills. Eventually, I got a message from our landlord. She hadn't paid her half of the rent that month. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just emotional. This was going to get legal. So I did what I had to do. I called a lawyer, told him everything, even the part about the virtual wedding and the cheating with people she met online. He didn't even blink. Said, "You're not the first, and you won't be the last." I served her papers 2 weeks later. Had to hire a process server because, of course, she wouldn't answer my texts or calls. She was still logging into MetaHaven daily, though I could see her online status from my burner. So we got creative. The process server tracked her down at a VR cafe downtown. You know the kind, individual pods, blacked out windows, scent diffusers that mimic pine forests and chocolate chip cookies. I swear these places are more immersive than a Vegas casino. According to the server, she was mid-session, totally zoned out in her headset when they handed the envelope to the cafe attendant with her name on it. She didn't even look up. She didn't have to. She'd been legally notified. She messaged me 2 hours later. Wow, that was dramatic. Could have just DM'd me. I didn't even reply. Instead, I started focusing on cleaning up the wreckage. I canceled the joint credit card, transferred my direct deposit into a new account, changed all the streaming passwords. You know, all the normal post-apocalyptic husband stuff. Then I made the mistake of going through her old laptop. She left it behind in the rush. At first, I hesitated. I didn't want to be that guy. But curiosity got the better of me. And what I found, honestly, I wish I hadn't looked. There were chat logs, screenshots, saved selfies of her in full avatar cosplay. She created multiple digital personas, each with their own name, look, and backstory. One was a warrior priestess from the Jade Rings of Zetha. Another was a digital dom who only roleplayed in binary code. She wasn't just living in MetaHaven. She was thriving in it, reinventing herself over and over like she was auditioning for 100 different lives, and I didn't exist in any of them. There were even flirty messages with someone calling themselves Metadaddy XO, who said he wanted to fly her to Tokyo for a cosplay convention and maybe something more. And she responded with, "I'm so over my husband. He's like analog, a walking Google document." That one stuck with me. A walking Google doc. Like I was some boring template she forgot to close. That night, I took the laptop out back and smashed it with a hammer. I'm not proud of it, but it felt final. Like I was breaking a window into a house I never wanted to enter again. Just when I thought things had finally settled. That the silence was permanent and the divorce would be clean, Layla reappeared. Not in person. Not a call. Not even a proper message. She posted about me. On MetaHaven's relationship board. Under her avatar's name, Lustra Moon, she wrote this long, dramatic post titled, "When Your Husband Can't." I don't even know what that means. The worst part? People believed her. Hundreds of upvotes. Comments like, "Ugh, analog men are the worst. If he loved you, he'd let you be free in your own code." Sounds like he's threatened by your meta-feminine awakening. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in my living room, drinking instant coffee, reading this digital smear campaign from the woman who actually married someone else in the metaverse behind my back. The audacity was unreal. A few days later, she DM'd me again, this time all sweet and suddenly grounded. Hey, I've been doing a lot of work on myself. Shadow integration. I realized I might have projected onto you. Maybe we should talk. I didn't answer right away, but I thought about it. I'll admit that. Part of me, the broken and exhausted part, considered sitting down and hearing her out. So we met. One last time. At a neutral place. A real-world cafe with no VR pods, no scent diffusers, just wood tables and bitter espresso. She showed up wearing sunglasses indoors, talking about energy frequencies and how she barely uses the metaverse anymore, except for guided self-therapy and dance meditation. Then she asked if I'd consider pausing the divorce. Not stopping it, just pausing. Maybe we could be sacred partners instead of legal ones, she said. We don't need the state to validate our love. I asked her flat out, are you still with any of the guys you met in Metahaven? She blinked, smiled, then said, that's not a linear question. That was it for me. I stood up, left $20 on the table, and walked out. Didn't say a word. Didn't even look back. Walking away that day felt like shedding a second skin I didn't even know I was carrying. I thought I'd be numb, or angry, or desperate, but mostly, I just felt free. The divorce went through quietly after that. No messy courtroom battles, no screaming matches. Just papers, signatures, and the official end to a marriage that had already died long before the ink dried. It was weird adjusting to life solo. Our house felt cavernous and silent without her constant bickering and those little lies she'd tell just to stir the pot. I miss the chaos sometimes. Yeah, I'm weird like that. But the peace was worth the emptiness. I threw myself into work, but even that couldn't fill the void. I started seeing a therapist because, believe me, you don't realize how deeply betrayal cuts until you face it head-on. We unpacked a lot: the gaslighting, the lies, the endless virtual disappearances, the betrayal both in Metahaven and reality. I learned that grief isn't just about losing a person, it's losing the future you imagine with them. But there was hope too. Slowly, I started reconnecting with friends, family, and most importantly, with myself. I rediscovered old hobbies, took up running again, even started dating, tentatively and awkwardly, in a world where face-to-face meant more than a pixelated avatar. And here's what I realized. Sometimes, the hardest thing isn't the betrayal itself. It's letting go of the fantasy. After everything, I've spent a lot of time thinking about what the hell actually happened, and what it means for relationships in this wild new world. The metaverse isn't just some game or escape hatch. It's a parallel universe where people can reinvent themselves, explore parts of their identity, and, yeah, sometimes hide the worst versions of themselves. My wife. She didn't just cheat on me in the real world. She created an entire virtual reality where she could be whoever she wanted, free from accountability, from compromise, from me. That's scary as hell. But it's also a wake-up call. If you're in a relationship with someone who's diving deep into virtual worlds, here's what I'd tell you. Don't ignore the signs. Secret accounts, unexplained disappearances, vague excuses about meta events aren't harmless. They're red flags. Communication is harder, but more important than ever. The metaverse is designed to be immersive, addictive, and isolating. You've got to fight to stay connected. Trust your gut. If you feel like you're being gaslit or ignored, you probably are. Don't let the allure of digital perfection blind you to reality. Set boundaries, real ones. Agree on what's acceptable and what's not. No poly-virtual relationships unless you both genuinely want it and can handle it. Most of all, don't lose yourself trying to hold on to someone who's already gone, whether that's physically, emotionally, or virtually. After all the chaos, I realized the hardest part wasn't just surviving the breakup, it was rebuilding who I was outside the metaverse shadow she cast. I started small. Removed all our shared virtual spaces, unsubscribed from the forums where her avatar still lurked, and stopped checking her status. It was like ripping off a Band-Aid, but the kind that's been stuck on too long and leaves scars. In the real world, I joined a local hiking group. No avatars, no filters, just sweaty people who liked fresh air and bad jokes. It was grounding in a way the metaverse never could be. I even started dating again. The first few attempts were awkward, full of those So, what's your favorite VR platform? Questions that reminded me how much the virtual world still hangs over my life. But slowly, I found people who cared about me, the actual, imperfect, analog version. The best part? I learned to be honest with myself about what I wanted. Not what she wanted or what MetaHaven promised, but what I needed to feel loved and safe. Maybe one day I'll dip a toe back into the metaverse. But for now, I'm happy just being here. In the messy, unpredictable, beautiful real world. Funny thing is, losing Layla and everything that came with her gave me something I never expected: clarity. I used to think the future was about blending tech and reality so seamlessly that no one would ever feel lonely, that we'd all escape into these perfect virtual worlds and be happier for it. Now I'm not so sure. The metaverse is incredible, sure, but it's also a trap, a place where people can lie to themselves and others, create perfect versions of their lives, and forget that real love, flawed, messy, and complicated, is still what matters most. I don't hate the metaverse. I just respect it now. And respect means knowing when to log off. I also learned something about myself, that I'm stronger than I thought. That betrayal hurts like hell, but it doesn't have to define you. And that real connection, whether it's with a person, a place, or just yourself, is worth fighting for. So if you're reading this, stuck in a relationship where you feel invisible or replaced by pixels, remember this. You deserve to be seen, to be real, to be loved without filters. And if that means walking away, sometimes that's the bravest, healthiest thing you can do. So here I am, almost a year later, sharing this mess of a story with you all because maybe, just maybe, someone out there is going through the same nightmare. The future of the metaverse? It's bright, wild, and confusing as hell. It can bring us closer or tear us apart. My advice? Don't lose sight of the real people behind the avatars. Don't let digital perfection blind you to the messy, beautiful humanity right in front of you. And if your partner starts to disappear behind a screen, don't ignore it. Talk, fight, set boundaries, or walk away if you have to. Most importantly, love yourself enough to know your worth, even if the world, virtual or not, tries to convince you otherwise. Thanks for reading. I'm still healing, still learning, but finally ready to move forward. Here's to whatever comes next, both in the metaverse and the messy, unpredictable real world. Signing off.